So when I first started making this video, I thought this was just going to be another comparison video where I just take 5 prompts from for Deepfloyd and 5 prompts for Midjourney, and by the end I'll pronounce Midjourney a winner of the comparison. But I am shocked. And by the end of the video, I'm pretty sure you'll be surprised too that a model that is so good is now open source. To kind of give you a glimpse of this, right? Can you make a guess in your mind, right? Which app was used to generate this image and which app was used to generate this image? Now, while this looks great, same prompts were used for both of the image. If the intention was to make a more realistic image, I'd say this is a lot better, and this was generated by Deepfloyd. Stability AI's open source model that can literally compete with Midjourney now. It has already beaten Google's Imagen, DALL-E 2, and a bunch of different text-to-image generation model. And I'm pretty sure it's coming very close when it comes to beating Midjourney, and has actually beaten Midjourney in one of the aspects. And I'll show you which one. Before we jump into any more details about the images and the prompts, this is the open source model. The entire code is available here. Now you can choose to run it on Google Colab, or you can choose to run it in your local system if you have a great graphic card. The choice is yours. If you don't want to go through hassles like these, you can also directly run it on Hugging Face demo page. So you have access to pretty much everything at this point to run this model. Let's look at the type of images that this model is generating. So Deepfloyd is in some way associated with Stability AI, the creator of Stable Diffusion. These are some of the samples that were generated by Deepfloyd. You can see the perspective is done great. Two major things that models face issues with, which is the number of objects in the image and the text. It's killing it on both fronts. You can see imagine what this can do for MarkTech in general. How creative look at how creatively the leaves are arranged. How crazy this looks. You can obviously go ahead and look at the workflow that the model's kind of following here. And you can see there is a minimum requirement of 16 GB VRAM and 24 GB VRAM for a better upscale. So yeah, if you don't have a great virtual RAM, you won't be able to run it in your local system. And I'm going to show you how you can run it over Colab as well. You can see there are a bunch of more examples here, and I really like the owl examples. These are really well done. You can see the image has capabilities aligned with the models like ControlNet, where you can align different people over a same perspective in the same position, which is awesome. There is a capability of super resolution, so that meaning you can upscale the image without really compromising on the quality. And also take a look at how the image can remove objects and generate relevant parts of the image to match the context of the image. Go ahead and take a look through this if you're interested. There's a lot more to learn about this. You can also join their Discord, where you can find more examples on the type of generation this model can. You can see most of the examples are with respect to text. So this is really a game changer when it comes to text, and it's open source. Okay, now so how do you run it in the Google Colab, right? So Google Colab offers a free tier where you can run this. Now, free tier is not always available, so be mindful of that. If you're not able to get access to it, you may have to consider buying the premium version. But I think in some cases you can still get access to the model. But the issue with these Google Colab documents is that the model location keeps changing, and sometimes when you don't have access to the model, it kind of becomes hard. Run these models over these predefined Google Colab. It becomes very technical. For folks who are not aware of how Python works, this can get really hard really quick. I'm not really going to be focusing on running the models here, but I'm going to show you some examples that I picked from the Discord group here. And I generated similar set of prompts for Midjourney to kind of compare and see how Deepfloyd does versus Midjourney. So this is the first image, and this is where it beats not only Midjourney but every open source or every paid model out there in the market. You can see diets, some sort of candy is used to write diet on the plate. Now, if you run the same image on Midjourney, you would expect at least Midjourney would attempt to write something on the lines of this, right? This is what Midjourney does. But it's aligned treats really well. I don't think it kind of attempted to really put any effort in order to generate something like this. So it's hands down beating Midjourney when it comes to text. Next, if you look at the level of creativity, so the prompt was simple, that we wanted to generate a colorful owl. And this was one of the things that we clearly mentioned in the prompt, was that we wanted to look as realistic as possible. And this is the generation done by Deepfloyd. But if you look at Midjourney's generation, it seems hard to kind of seems like a toy, especially this one. This one looks great, but still, I can't find the aspect of realism. When you look at this, this may be a real bird. You look at this, I think this may be a cosmetic toy of sorts, right? So the other image is more on the lines of illustration. This is generated by Deepfloyd, and it looks really good when it comes, specifically talking about the art side of the story. This is what is generated by Midjourney. I wouldn't say it's bad. The generation is done pretty well. But if you look at Deepfloyd's generation, it's not too bad either. It's for the same prompts that both of these models have done a great job. I kind of like the Midjourney generations here. But to be fair, there's only one sample from Deepfloyd. Plus, there are trees and stuff which you don't really see in the output of a Midjourney. Next, we tried this alignment. See, the other things that models have constantly struggled with over time is kind of orienting images in a certain manner, especially when count is involved. You can see Midjourney, Deepfloyd does a really decent job here. It's kind of created like a circle of sorts with desert plants in between and the shells outside. So you do the same prompt for Midjourney, it's something really different. I kind of tried to take the same prompt, feed it to Midjourney, and this is what I kind of had gotten as an out. So maybe the prompt wasn't aligned well, but can't really compare these two at this point. Then I found this image for Deepfloyd and I kind of used the same prompt to generate on Midjourney. You can see the generation overall looks a bit more, these two look similar, but the generations overall look a bit more artistic and cartoonish, but the generations here look very real. Like if I look at this photo, I know someone's kind of clicked or maybe I can think that someone's kind of clicked a picture here, but if you look at this photo, it's someone has either drawn it or it's generated by CGI. So, then obviously all of this kind of makes you curious. All of this kind of made me curious. So I tried one of the images, generating one of the images here. I took this image from Midjourney, I took the prompt and I fed the same prompt here, and apparently this was generated, which is not so good when you compare it with the output of, say, Midjourney, because this looks badass, right? This looks super cool. You look at this, it looks like an incomplete generation in the first place. Now, maybe that's because I'm running it on the demo account, and people who have access to better GPUs can run and generate next level images on better quality, which is something that Midjourney offers. But in order to do that on Deepfloyd, you'll probably have to have access to a better GPU. But looking at these images generated by the community itself, I feel pretty confident that we're getting there. We're already there when it comes to text. So great news for the open source community. The direction, I'm sure over the next few months, we'll have a lot more models that will be open source that will very closely either compete or do better than Midjourney in the future. And that's pretty much it that's pretty much going to be it for the video, guys. I hope this adds value. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.